While most manufacturers are talking about electric cars, Nissan's already got one in production. This is the Nissan Leaf. Unlike a Toyota Prius or even the Chevrolet Volt, there's no gasoline engine here at all. We purchased one here to test at our track. With no gasoline engine here, there's no oil to change, no spark plugs to replace. In fact, there's not even a geared transmission here. That helps the car, makes it nice and simple. Also helps make it affordable too. In fact, you'll pay less than $30,000 for a Leaf after the tax incentives. As you might expect on a high-tech car like this, there's lots of tech inside too. There's lots of displays that tell you about how you're driving, how much energy you're using, but probably the most useful one is the Nearby Stations button. This actually tells you the nearby charging stations that you could drive to, and works with the navigation system, so you could program it to take you right there. Unfortunately, you might find that many of those stations are outside of your driving range. The controls and displays do take some getting used to. All the displays are digital, and there aren't any knobs anywhere to be found, not even a volume knob for the radio. And the weirdest part is the shifter. This thing looks more like a hockey puck than a shifter, and you have to move it in all directions in order to get into reverse drive or park. The rest of the interior is actually pretty normal. It's pretty roomy inside. The seats, they're pretty comfortable. The fit and finish, fairly nice. But the one complaint that we did have is the steering wheel. While it does have adjustment for tilt, it doesn't telescope. A high roofline makes getting it out of the front really easy, but in the rear it's another story. The battery packs are actually underneath the floor. That raises the floor up and makes getting in kind of rough because you have to duck down underneath the roof. And once you're back here, that high floor makes thigh support not very good because your knees are up high. But there is good news. At least there's room for 3 back here. Now, being a hatchback gives the Leaf pretty decent cargo area, but the battery pack does take up some of the room and has a pretty high liftover. Now, acceleration off the line, it feels very quick. Really, the car is not that fast. It's not that fast to 60, but it feels super quick because of that electric motor. In fact, all the torque is available right away. And when you're going quick and you're pushing down on the gas pedal, well, electric pedal, I guess, when you're pushing down on that, you don't hear any engine revving. It gives you that impression that you're actually in a powerful vehicle. Without a gasoline engine going, it actually is pretty quiet. No murmur from the engine at all. But around 45 to 50 miles per hour, there's this high-pitched whine. And to some of us, we found it really, really annoying. The ride's pretty compliant, and although this is a small car, it doesn't feel like one. It's actually fairly heavy because of the battery pack, and that actually makes it ride a little smoother. The handling isn't very impressive. The car's steering feel really isn't very good. It actually feels a little bit rubbery. But the big problem with this car is range. It's not about how it drives, it's about how far you can drive it. And while Nissan advertises 100 miles, in reality, we usually got about 75 miles until it was completely dead. And if you drive on the highway, or if you want to run your AC, or you want to run the heater, you're getting closer to 65 miles on a charge. That severely limits the usefulness of this car. Now, a short range wouldn't be such an issue if you could just go to a gas station and fill it up in a few minutes, but that's not the case. Even on 220 volts, it takes many hours to fully charge the Leaf. So the Nissan Leaf is a nice car to drive, and it's by far the most developed electric car to date. But before you go out and buy one, you have to realize the limitations. It's got a short range and a very long recharge time. So that basically assures that the car is not going to be your primary vehicle.